So I saw a post that was made by Zigo on Facebook announcing that Blessing Mashangwa had actually passed away. Now you guys might remember Blessing Mashangwa. She trended a lot around the subject of her involvement with the Makandiwas in UFI, the church. Particularly, I guess there was a period where there was money owed. She was faithful of the church, lost a lot of money to that church, and all that kind of jazz. Went through a lot in there, and and then there was also another period where she then trended again, where a lot of people then kind of got reintroduced to her story, and it was just a lot. There was just a lot. I remember making videos about it, and I was like, you know what, just by looking at the stories, you could see that there's like a moment where you're just like, yeah, this is a lot. Don't even want to rehash some of those stories. And so it's a really sad story. I'm not sure exactly the cause and all, but I just saw those particular headlines. I saw Zim I's post video. We was talking about some of the times when he's had his interactions with her, publishing some of her stories and hearing her side of things. And it for me, death really is a reminder that you don't have a lot of time. And I think for me, that's the one thing that stands out in everything. In death, all I see is time. That I don't see their mistake. I don't see where they went and how things could have been different. A lot of times when I hear that a person is passed away, the first thing that comes to my mind is that it's really a very short time to be here. And some people decide to live it the worst ways. I don't want to really delve into the story, but there was a lady that recently passed away in South Africa, a very popular figure. And when she died, she left a list. Like there was a list where she had said the people that should, like not attend a funeral and everything. And I thought that was extremely sad. And I'm not saying it's sad in the sense that um, whatever a situation might have been with those people, whatever problems they had, she didn't want people coming to fake tears at a funeral and stuff. So that's what another person might say. For me, it was just sad that that's the last thing I live. Like, even if you had pissed me off like that badly, the last thing I'm talking about, the last thing I'm leaving can't be a list. I mean, like the subject of her passing soon faded, and she was ill, and she was ill for a while, and so there was a period where she literally thought about, time is ending. How do I want to go out? And she wrote a list. Personally, Bazalwani, I'm gonna say this now. You'll hear me say it again here and in other places. You don't have much time. I think that's the most important thing. The Bible says, redeeming the times, for the days are evil. You don't have that much time. And I think a lot of people just kind of like waste a lot of time. They waste a lot of time to things that don't really build towards anything. Or they waste a lot of time that they can't get back, or, you know, without realizing, I mean, you don't have that much time. Waste enough time in hatred, in hating a certain person. That person is not your God. At the end of the tunnel, on the other side, you will meet. You don't have that much time, and I think a lot of people live under that delusion. Maybe it's one of Satan's greatest deceptions, to delude people in thinking they're gonna be here for another day. You don't know that. You don't know. I don't know that I'm gonna be here, And so I take and I cherish time. I really am very specific about time. um, I'm very specific about time because it means so much. You get to meet people and you spend time listening to their stories, and like we were doing an interview today, and when the interview is done, I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, how was that me sitting there talking to that person? And we used to watch these people on television, and now we're sitting there talking about God. How was that me? You know? And that's because I realize how much short time we have here. You know? Even that's why I don't. There are certain messages that I don't even respond. Like people send funny messages, I don't even respond because I don't have that much time to be addressing nonsense or foolish things. People say threats. I don't have time for that. I'm gonna die whenever God has said it out. And now I must keep this silly message in my head. I don't have time for that. I can't waste my time with that. And they are under a delusion thinking they have enough time. Yeah, a person who wastes their time in hatred, in pursuing hatred or pursuing something that when it ends, you're like, okay, so then what? They are under the delusion that they have enough time. A person who's holding on to hatred, one form or another, they're under the delusion that they have enough time. I can hate this person enough until I have enough time to change and be acceptable to God. They owe me. That person owes me. Me being angry. I have to be angry. It's delusion. It's a delusion of time. You remember that verse that says, it says you would rather say, that verse that says you would rather say God willing. You know that verse that says there are people that are out there that they plan all these intricacies and all these details into their stories, and their plans only show you one thing. And he says their plans actually show you that they are not aware that it is God that decides whether tomorrow you will be here. That's my thinking. My thinking is people are under the delusion that they have tomorrow, and I think that's why they hold on to anger, they hold on to bitterness, they hold on to hatred, they hold on to it till tomorrow. They'll know me because they are under the delusion that they have time. They're under the delusion they have time. There's a parable in the Bible, as a matter of fact, before I close this video. There's this parable where there was two servants, and one was forgiven, and he held on to his bitterness for another person who owed him. So he owed his master greatly, like huge, and he couldn't pay. The master forgave him, and then he went to someone who owed him very little, and he dragged that person and was in that parable. If you remember that parable, and what is the lesson there? Delusion. He was under a delusion that was under the delusion of power without perceiving what power ruled over him. He didn't understand. Being forgiven means I understand forgiving. That's why the Bible questions what people think love is. It says, oh yeah, how do you claim to love when you have hatred for your brother? Do you claim to love when you have hatred for, And so what's that? He is showing you, don't be under the delusion of being offended. He says, vengeance is mine. God knows the right judgment to mete out to that person. Let us grow. We do not have much time. If there's anything to take from this video, remember that. Don't be deluded into hatred. Uzongizonda wenzeni? Uzongizonde, and then you'll zonda me and then gain what? What will you gain? If you know me, you don't even know me. I pity the people in your life. Hating people that you have never even met. of time. They're deluded. They feel they have the right to be offended. It's Ricky. Let us grow, and remember, you don't have that much time.